Well, hello there. We are live again. It is the bi-weekly off-centered show. It is me, Dustin, Flippin' Jefferson, Thomas Jefferson W. Steve.
What?
Happy birthday.
I think I'm a new.
Rob Neo.
I think I'm a new
and
forefather every year, every week.
Steve, you have to wait till I'm done introducing, and then you can jump in.
But you introduced me as Thomas Jefferson. Like I said, I'm a new forefather every week. Yeah, let me prepare for this.
How was your birthday?
I'll dress accordingly if you let me know ahead of time. I'll come on here with a tricorn hat. I have a tricorn hat and a musket. Anyway,
a musket.
Oh, the birthday. Yeah, the Minuteman. They my birthday's good. Well, my birthday's not actually till tomorrow, but I work on my birthday, so had a little bit of a celebration yesterday. Not much of a celebration. Typically just a party at my house, like any other summer party. It wasn't any special other than people brought all kinds of like cakes and stuff that I'm not supposed to be eating. It was like a sugar fest. So, but anyway,
nice.
I'm the one that ends up doing all the work at my own parties anyway. We were talking about that while you were getting your mocha choca latte. We were, I do all the setup and then all the cleanup. So it's like my parties are more work than they are. I spend more time setting up and cleaning up than I do actually
That's why I don't celebrate anything, because I don't want to set up. I don't want to clean anything. I don't want to do anything. So we don't celebrate anything at the house. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I run around the party like the old man. I'm like, make sure you keep the gates shut, because of course there's all kinds of gates in and out of my backyard now, especially now with the fire pit area fenced in. There's 2 more gates. I'm like, you got to keep the gates shut because we can't let the dingus get out. And then
will she run away, like run
no,
down the street?
No, she just wants to be by my side no matter where I'm at. So if I'm in the driveway, she's in the driveway. If I'm in the pool area, she's in the pool area. So it's kind of like, it doesn't really matter. You could leave the gates open. She would just follow me around everywhere. And she likes to be around the people anyway. She's not too, she doesn't go crazy, but, and I know that she won't, but it just makes me nervous because what about that 1% chance that she decides to go get nosy or she sees a rabbit or something, you know what I mean? Decides she wants to chase after something. So, and nobody's paying attention. So
well, we got to say hello to everybody. Sorry to cut you off, Steve, but the dingus is going to have to wait. Phoenix Rising in the house. We got Ray Hildreth, Joe Perot. I haven't seen Joe in a while. Hope you're doing well on the West Coast, Joe. Already said Phoenix. Talatiga.
Olafali.
Jordan.
Bloodline.
Jordan Hudson. Zach Pierce. Already 10 minutes behind. That's the way I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Chris K is here. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Mike Petty. Mike Petty in the house. I appeal. Off-centered, but surface is good. Crazy Kev. What's going on? All the weird middle-aged guys going through their midlife crisis. Welcome, everybody. Bush Leaguers. What's up? Mangini.
What's up?
Oh, the Mangini's in here. You working out, Mangini?
These guys must be real bored tonight. We got Mangini and we got Petty. They're dying. There's nothing else on TV.
Ray, hello, Shelby.
But it appears that they're tuning in from they're tuning in from my channel, so that's better. That's good. So thank you guys.
We're here for the star pump and dump.
I don't even know how to link my channel to this.
It's to see the paper clip. So thanks, guys. But
all right, well, let's start the show off with fantasy football. I think we all had victories except for Steve. Is that correct?
No, I don't think Hamm won either. I lost by a point.
No. Steve and I played this week.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys play each other. Hold on.
One of them's going to be 0-2.
Let me present my screen. All right, so Neo and I face off this week. We both got a victory. You slammed Ziggy. Shocker. That must have been hard. And then I beat Chris Sewell, baseball card collector, investor, dealer.
And you got to remove Mike Petty's comments. You got my whole face covered up. I look like Mickey Mantle. Look,
oh, my bad.
Look, hold on. Oh, man. I was about to put my face in.
We get Petty off the screen there. Yeah, we've got a pretty tight matchup this week. Well, your running back's not even going to play. O'Kane's not going to play. Kenneth Walker's pretty good, but New England's a little tougher than I think people thought. Mostert's out, so I move Mostert. Yeah, you have pretty decent matchups. Garrett Wilson against the Titans is nice.
A 6-point projection is a pretty hefty win.
It is?
Yeah, because projections are. I mean, for projection, it is because projections are usually only a couple points off. 6 points is pretty big projected
I got
up
the
now.
start of the league, Jordan Mason. I'm set.
Oh, Jordan Mason. Yeah,
So
he's coming back down to earth.
My game was so weird because I went from not having a chance and not even thinking that I had a chance to like being like, oh my gosh, I might win, because I think I was down by like 15 or something like that. I was down by like 18, but he still had Christian McCaffrey and I had Brees Hall. But there was no way that I thought Brees Hall was going to outgain McCaffrey by that many points, if any, if he was able to at all. But then McCaffrey was a scratch.
Yeah.
So last second, Ken had to go to waiver wire and he had to pick up a player that hadn't played. And all the backups are already picked up from those two teams. So he got like Tyler Conklin, like the Jets tight end. And then I ended up like getting like a 1 point lead with Brees Hall because he put up 18 points. And then Tyler Conklin got like one catch for 1.6 points, one catch for 6 yards. And he beat me by like less than a point, I believe, or right there at beat me by a point. But to be fair, I shouldn't even have been in it. Like if I would have won, it would have been like a very unfortunate circumstance for him to lose the way that he would if he would have lost. So it didn't really matter. And I look at my team and I scored pretty good considering I had Marvin Harrison Jr. and Dalton Kincaid, who combined for like 3 points. So 3 points combined out of two big, what I consider to supposed to be two of my better players, and to still be in the game and to score about 120. Because Harrison Jr. is my wide receiver one.
Yikes.
He had one catch.
He'll get better.
So that's what I mean. That's why I'm looking at it. I'm like, look, I lost, but I still scored 120 points with absolute crap games out of Harrison and Kincaid. So I still look at it as in a moral victory. I could have scored like 75 points and be like, oh my God, my team is in the gutter. Because I think I still outscored a lot of teams in the league. I think it was the highest scoring loser, if that means anything.
Story of your life.
And I may have outscored some of the winners.
You're still in the loss column, Steve. Mark Sipe is heading to Culture Collision this weekend. I was thinking, like, when is that? Why am I missing it? And I'm out of town. I'm going to Pearl Jam and to Baltimore this weekend.
Curious how that turnout's going to be for that show.
Yeah, so I bought tickets early, and that turned out to be a mistake. There are tickets now, Steve. If you want to just skip work, there's tickets I think for like $200 now.
I saw it today. They were still 60 tables short of
Culture Collision
actual dealer tables.
Oh, you're talking. Oh, I thought you were talking about Pearl Jam. You're talking about the card show. Sorry.
Say Culture Collision.
Culture.
No, the concert's tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, we're driving out tomorrow.
Yeah, the concert's tomorrow night. No, I have to work, and I gave up on getting to go because the other manager, the guy that's the same position as me, he's on vacation, so I wouldn't even be able to get off if I wanted to.
So is Culture Collision dying? Is that what you're saying, Hamm?
Oh, there's been so many shows lately. I just don't know what the bandwidth is for all the.
I'm just trying to stir the pot.
Well, going back to Neo's video.
Saturday is Hobby Rip Night too, so a lot of shops are doing individual events across the country.
Okay, so Cards HQ will have. Won't that be good for the show though?
Like not but a lot of people that might normally set up probably have to stay back at their home shops to run Rip Nights.
Mangini's got a hot take. It either is the greatest Mangini or it's right there because I do like my Pink Floyd also. Pearl Jam 10 is GOAT status. But going back to Neo's video about, and that was on the heels of us talking about this on Last Off Centered, was shows cannibalizing each other. When he was talking about that, one of the first shows that popped into my mind was Culture Collision. I was like, if any one of these big shows is the first to go, I bet you Culture Collision feels it the most.
I agree.
Do you think Raphael's sweating it right now?
I don't know. Unless Fanatics gets behind him and stuff and wants to turn that into some sort of Fanatics affiliated deal. But I just feel like if there is a show that people are going to start back, because this was a show, so mind you, Culture Collision is fairly new, so it's just started to gain momentum. It's not as established as the others, so I can see like a Fanatics event coming in and kind of extinguishing that momentum. It has, you know, if it had been around for 10, 15 years and been an established show, it might be less likely to take a hit. But there's probably a lot of people that have never been to a Culture Collision. So when you talk about making decisions about the shows that you want to go to, some people might be like, okay, I'm not going to go to this show this year because I'm going to try the Culture Collision. Now I feel like Culture Collision would probably be the first odd man out if something like that was to happen. That's my opinion, though.
This is the first year they've done it twice in the same year, right?
Yeah.
Why don't we take a look at the upcoming Fanatics events? Okay, we've got Fanatics Fest New York City coming up. Oh, wait, that already happened. Where? Okay, we know Pittsburgh is Dunsies.
Pittsburgh got canceled, right?
Dude, Orlando's supposed to be a 900 table show. I wish you'd think Neo would have made a video on this or something.
I know, right?
So with the shows,
there's no Orlando show on this thing.
So
it's
funny thing about
5 weeks.
Culture Collision, they posted earlier today that there's still 60 tables available, and that shows in 3 days. That seems like a lot of tables to be open.
Yeah.
It's not the right environment for that anymore.
Oh, Hamm. What do you mean by that? Go on.
It's where everybody's getting stretched thin. We just had the Dallas show, last week? I mean, and Dallas feels like it's almost every other month, it feels like, even though I know it's quarterly, but it just creeps up on you. And then everybody has their big shows in their areas of the country, and it's just getting stretched thin. I mean, it's even here in Tampa, we're going to consolidate a show because you can't have a show every weekend in the same vicinity of basically 10 miles and be able to support it with all the dealers setting up.
So here's a fun one. Speaking of the Orlando Fanatics event, it's the same weekend as the next Dallas card show.
Mm-hmm.
They overlap against each other.
We got a man on the ground. Mark Sipe will be there, and he's going to report back.
I want some vlog footage, Mark.
Yeah, Mark, bring back all the juicy details. We'll have you on in 2 weeks. We'll have you on. Mark Sipe, call in. We'll be like Sports Card Radio. We'll have the call-ins cooking. We'll have Mark Sipe on.
You should just leave the link there on the side and let anybody call in. Is that too risky?
Easy, easy, Hamm. Easy.
Let's go.
I like the Wild West every once in a while.
All right, quick guys. We got people in the chat naming really some of their favorite live albums. So give me one. Give me one of your favorite live albums, if you have any.
I listened to Metallica. I think it's 1991 Seattle, where I just saw them. That's the one that's on like YouTube Music or whatever when I search for their live stuff.
They have a good one from Moscow too.
Yeah, they've got that's what I was gonna say. There's one in Europe, in Russia, Moscow or whatever. Yeah.
Hamm live album.
I mean, the last one I can remember that I kind of just watched/listened to through my system here was Bruce Springsteen. I think he was in New York.
I did embarrass myself a little bit at the Metallica concert last week. My brother, we had a few beverages. I didn't realize that Metallica does not do an encore. Like they play their set and then they head on out. And so they were like, thanks Seattle, we love you guys. And and I'm just thinking in my mind like, well, they're going to come back out and they're going to play Harvester of Sorrow. They're going to come back out and play something. And they left, and I guess apparently this is a little bit of a blur for me, but apparently I was yelling at the crowd that like no one gave a damn, and they left. It's all your fault, and they left. So yeah, good thing my brother's like 6'4", 240, so nobody was right. Nobody had anything to say back, but yeah.
Neo said he doesn't have one.
Yeah, I don't listen to a ton of music.
Okay. I mean, for me, being a 90s grunge guy, any of the MTV Unplugs of the 90 grunge bands are awesome.
Oh, yeah.
The Pearl Jam, the Nirvana, the Stone Temple Pilots, Alice in Chains, those are all good. But if I went with some other bigger rock bands like Pink Floyd, Pulse, that's always a great one. And then the Dire Straits, Alchemy.
Are you saying I know it?
Are you laughing at the same thing I am, Hamm?
Yeah.
What happened?
You'll see it in 20 minutes.
You'll see it shortly.
Okay, I'll just wait.
I'll say shortly, but you're like 30 comments behind right now.
I'm 3 minutes behind the thing.
where everybody's busy right here. They're engaged.
Mint Collective in Vegas, another one that may come to a screeching halt due to the competition from that's already gone. OG.
Mint Collectives were gone for like 2 years.
You called that, OG, because it's gone. It's definitely gone. Oh, you already were on that. Neo, look at Neo just all over the chat. All over it.
One of us has to be.
Oh, well, okay, there you go. So I'm catching up with all you guys' conversation. This is fun.
Wow.
Just stop going to games. Card show wars. Do you think Orlando Fanatics show actually happens? Simon comes in with a hot take, a blazing hot take.
100% happens. They've already booked dealers.
Is Bryant already booked and everything and ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Orlando was 1,000% happening.
But they don't know a lot either. So
yeah, I'd bet money that it happens. I don't know how well it happens, but it's going to happen. Are you still so? I guess this is my question for you, Dustin. Are you still going to try to go? Because I know you talked about attending this show, or is this vagueness now like tampering your expectations?
I feel like Orlando's close enough to where, and I've got some family down there. That's kind of like a last second. I know it's not close to me, but it's like an 8-hour drive, and it's not close, but it's an easy drive. It's just right down the coast. I could see myself kind of just, like one of those wraiths in Lord of the Rings flying in there in the last second, kind of overnight. I could see myself squeezing into that show. It really just depends too, though, on what's going on family wise. Like we have all sorts of stuff going on this fall. It's crazy. So yeah, but that's one where I can inexpensively do that show, at least for a day.
I have a question. Did they give a reason behind canceling the Pittsburgh Fanatics show?
Fanatics can't even tell us if there's a show in Orlando. They're not going to.
Okay, so they just pulled the plug. It's basically kind of pulled the plug.
I think actually, I think in the statement on the Collect art or the Sports Collectors Daily article was that they basically just didn't have enough time to execute it the way that they wanted to.
Okay. I guess my thing is, what are they charging for tables? And if they're not
gonna, Orlando, $350.
350. Oh, okay. All right, so that's not too bad.
Orlando's just a normal card show. It's not like it's not Javits Center where it's $4,000.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna have the big spectacle.
But I just mean there is zero marketing for this thing, so it's kind of like who's coming? I mean, outside of,
I mean, they barely did any marketing for the New York event.
I don't know. I would strongly disagree with that statement.
Yeah, I mean, they came in
for
late.
As long as we knew about it happening and what was going to go on, it took forever for them to tell us anything.
Yeah, they came in late. They came in 4 months before it was happening. But I feel like on social media they were pumping that show.
Yeah, Ruben was everywhere pumping that thing.
Yeah, we just didn't know what was going to go on at it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Even Brian didn't know. Brian's like, I'm going this weekend. I don't really know what this is going to be.
Yeah, but that's probably because Brian's at a card show. Like he doesn't have time to sit around and figure out what everybody's doing. He's got a card show every weekend.
Yeah.
I was just curious as if you think it was, I guess, the logistics of it or not being like not having the time to have it set up and things like that, or if there was just kind of a general maybe lack of interest.
I think it was just time because they never even solicited dealers for Pittsburgh.
So do you think?
Oh, God.
So do you think that maybe when they put out word that they were looking to have a Pittsburgh show, it was just kind of a feelers into maybe how people in the community would react?
No, I just think that they're
like a gauge,
flying by the seat of their pants.
To be like, okay, we're going to talk about this, and if it gains a lot of momentum and it becomes the talk of the town and sounds like something that's going to go over well, we're going to go and push through with it.
Because they only really mentioned it once on I think a Jeff Wilson show, and that was it. So it wasn't like it was even. You got to really be in the weeds to even know that show was happening.
Well, I don't watch Jeff Wilson, so I heard it somewhere else. Which means it got around.
Ouch, Steve.
No offense to Jeff, I just don't have time to watch all of his videos. He puts up content all the time.
Yeah, fair enough.
This is your league champion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How were the vibes
against Jeff? It's nothing against him. Is
it me? But I feel like the height of Dallas for me anyway was when we met, Steve. I think May 2021 was like the height for Dallas. And I'm not saying that they haven't had like busy shows since then, but in 2024, who's talking about the Dallas Card Show? Like
it's every other month now. It happens.
Not like that show was, because that show was the first big show since COVID shut everything down. And then it was also a fear of the national maybe not happening. And so Dallas was the first time that anybody who got into the content creation space during COVID or got back into the hobby during COVID, because we all know without debate that the hobby really grew, whether it was new people or people returning and stuff during the pandemic, because that's kind of like what they had to do, or all they had to do. And to be fair, a certain percentage of that has also left, but and some has remained. But I feel like that is what really pushed that Dallas show. So many new people, the first big show for the new people, the first big show for the people coming back, then the people who were already here, the first big show coming out, after not having been able to go to a show for a while, fear of the national not happening. It was like a perfect storm. Like we talk about what pumped the markets in 2020. It was a perfect storm of things, and it affected that show big time, more so than did a lot of them. With it being the first.
Did he skip the comment we were laughing at?
He skipped the comment. He doesn't like to. He doesn't like to show it.
Which one?
No, we were laughing at what Ziggy said earlier.
Oh, Frodo Baggins.
Well, because Neo beat him, so he's excluded from the system.
I don't think that's the three, but whatever narrative.
I'm going to go with
cheers. Three of my favorite hobby influencers. Well, that's because I'm not an influencer. So you got Hamm, Dustin, and Neo. You guys are the three.
I'm pretty sure I'm the one out there. Frodo.
I feel pretty confident in saying that Dustin.
No,
little Frodo's not a fan.
Ziggy has had that macro to his keyboard, and he just hasn't updated it since we added Hamm.
Yeah. His finger slipped. He meant to hit 4, and his finger slipped, and
he just hit F12, and it put it up there. He's got to go back and reword it, macro it into hotkey with Hamm.
Yeah, I remember the hotkey.
So what do we think wins here? A Dallas card show or an Orlando Fanatics event that has zero marketing behind it, running on the exact same weekend?
Well, the first Orlando show I think would probably do fine, just because people are curious about it. I think that's what it would. I think Orlando would do well.
There's not a ton of vendors or dealers that go to the Dallas show from Florida. I mean, when I say ton, probably maybe 10 that go over to Dallas.
They're bringing people from all over the country for Orlando.
I know they're going to stay here. I mean, I've already talked to them. They're staying here. They're all doing the Fanatics events. Mealy Pops is going to be there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's going to impact Dallas. Like they're going to pull dealers from. Dallas.
Yeah, 100%. But Dallas, from what I know, Dallas is usually sold out. So there's probably people waiting in the wings that could help fill at least part of it.
That same weekend in Dallas, I guess, is a big Pokemon Houston Collecticon, and all the TCG dealers that usually set up at Dallas are going to the Houston Collecticon, which is also the same weekend as Orlando Fanatics Fest.
Hamm, are you in on Skeens cards? Jim in Florida is talking about Skeens. Is Skeens going to be the one guy that doesn't need surgery on his elbow and is going to?
No, it's inevitable. I mean, you can't. I don't think anybody can go. If a good pitcher is going to be a Hall of Famer, you got to deal 15 years.
He's got like Nolan Ryan elbows.
Yeah, correct. Nolan Ryan probably needed the surgery. He told somebody to F off and he just kept pitching. So
yeah, that's a good point.
It's just how it works.
Hammer, you going to Orlando Fanatics event?
Yeah. Okay. Friday,
Saturday.
Yeah. 10K for the week to Orlando. Man, you're staying in the Ritz-Carlton then, Petty. You're staying in a nice place. Orlando is
staying in Disney World.
He got the package. Yeah,
Petty's staying in the Magic
Disney World. He's Cinderella's castle.
He's in the castle in the Magic Kingdom.
He's running with Tinkerbell.
He's like, this is where Oprah stayed.
He got the meal ticket and everything.
Dude, 10K goes far. 10K goes pretty far in Florida.
Let me know where you're staying, Mike, and I'll just crash on the floor.
I'm up here hunting cats, and he's spending 10K to go to a show.
Yeah. All Neo's trying to do at this stage is just trying to save all the cats in Ohio.
So Neo had the video of your quarterbacks or your football cards going to zero. Let's discuss some of the young quarterbacks. Some of the young quarterbacks that have been hyped up and pumped up, and let's talk about week 1 performance.
I love how nobody's talking about Derek Carr. What's going on?
Because he still sucks.
3 touchdown passes.
Who'd they play?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who they play?
Oh, that's always going to be the reason. Who'd they play?
Let's do the flip coin. What about Bryce Young?
As long as they win.
They played the Mighty Panthers. Panthers.
Last time I went to a Saints-Panthers game, the Panthers won.
Yeah, Steve. I took Steve to that game, and then I left crying.
Hey, you know who was quarterbacking for the Panthers then? You remember, Dustin?
Hold on. Darnold.
Baker.
Sam
Sammy
Darnold.
D.
Sam
Sammy
Darnold.
D.
And the thing that was funny is Sam Darnold was like seeing ghosts that year. He sucked, and then all of a sudden played us and just had the best game of his life.
But Carolina started that first season with Darnold off good. Didn't he go like 4-0 or something? They started the season off really good.
Yeah. And
then he brought in Baker Mayfield, and they had the two guys like going back and forth. The first and second picks of the 2018 draft by 2022 or whatever were on the same team competing for a job on different teams.
Dustin, how did you sleep at night after you made a football cards are going to zero video with a red crashing thumbnail?
Did he make that?
Do you have any tips for me so I could sleep well tonight?
I don't know.
Since you single-handedly crashed the football market with negative video.
I think these night terrors are permanent now that I have from these videos. Yeah, it's really messing with my soul. It's
a heavy burden.
Yeah, no, I saw some of your comments were really, really funny.
Yeah, I'm really not doing too bad looking at the 5 or 6 nice Justin Fields cards that I kept. Got to win. If he comes out and gets another win, maybe.
You sold all those
It's still Russell Wilson's team, I think. No, the Darnold's got sold, and actually, I believe he's seen a bump after week 1, which means the person I sold him to, which is good. Like I hope the person that I sold him to is able to flip him. But I think that they probably sold him quick because I'm pretty sure the person that bought him from me had an LCS in Minnesota, and that's why they wanted him.
Okay, you sold 3 Packers, so they probably
here. Do you think Skeens has enough star power that if Skeens is at this Pittsburgh show that he draws a big crowd by himself, like people who are coming in?
1,000%.
I think so too. Oh,
people would like him to walk by so they can sniff his cologne off of him. I mean, they wouldn't care. That Pittsburgh loves.
But I think Libby there.
The hot player can draw a crowd for sure.
Oh, where are we at with Joe Burrow though? There's a lot of money in Joe Burrow cards, man. Is he ever
good for him?
Is he just bad or is he just not back?
He's just a Bengal. I think that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah,
he's a Bengal.
Bengal's gonna Bengal.
I don't know. That team was.
The team looks like a big chaos. Personally,
I mean, they were in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. I mean, and then in the AFC Championship,
they haven't been able to put it back together.
Yeah, but what is that? I mean, it's obviously quarterback play, right?
We've seen bad quarterbacks on one team. They go to a new team with new players and new coaches, and the next thing you know, they're way better than what they ever were. I mean, sometimes it's just where you're
at. That's usually quarterbacks that come into a team that are already failing. They're asked to do too much. They don't have the weapons around them, whatever it may be. Like, it's basically been if you're drafted by the Jets in the past 5 to 8 years, like that's a nightmare scenario for a quarterback.
I don't know just because I don't
they
want
put pieces in Cincinnati.
I didn't see the highlights. So,
I mean, Cincinnati has one of the better receiving cores. Go to argue.
Yeah, but T. Higgins is hurt, so he hadn't been playing since last week, and he's still out for this week.
But I'm saying with Burrow, he's had an injury here, an injury there, an injury there. Is it just he's just going to never be what he was in those first 2 years? Did he overachieve? And now we're seeing the real Burrow. I mean, those are the questions. Did he overachieve? And now we're seeing him just not be a good quarterback? Or is it still fallout from his injuries and he's just trying to get his confidence back and get 100%?
I would go with that for right now. But
not working with his receivers.
Go for that for right now.
To be fair, he didn't get much work with his receivers in the preseason because they were holding out or Chase was holding out. So I don't know. I'm just wondering because
the Browns want Baker Mayfield back. That's for damn sure. Good Lord.
What do you mean? Browns have Joe Boo in the background. He's just waiting for his turn.
We got Jameis, man. We got
Jameis.
No, but I saw talk radio today that was talking about Jameis Winston. I'm thinking, like, guys, have you ever watched Jameis Winston? He was my backup in New Orleans.
Have you watched Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, Deshaun Watson's way worse.
But I mean, yeah, you're right. So I guess you go from kind of like anemic with Deshaun Watson to like anything can happen.
Hey, man, we made Joe Flacco look amazing last year. Just
Jameis will sling the ball. He won't care about throwing
Flacco on a team.
Yeah,
the Colts.
Okay, I was gonna say bring him back. Jeez.
Yeah.
All right.
I saw you pulled a comment up. Did you get a chance to watch the Jeff Wilson show with the national interview yet?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Did you watch it yet, Ham? I know Steve didn't.
The one he just just did.
Yeah. Did you watch it?
Did you think it was a little awkward?
Yeah.
There's like a weird vibe in that interview. I couldn't really put my finger on it. It just felt like no one really wanted to be there.
What do you mean? Like sexual tension or what?
No. That's Shannon Sharp.
Yeah. That's Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just felt like there was.
Were they peeved or was Jeff peeved?
Ham, I don't know. Can you put your finger on it? Are you on the same page as me with this?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I don't know. It's just
you know how many views from this comment stream that you just got Jeff out of this view because now people are going to go watch that.
I don't think Jeff needs help getting views.
No, because
I didn't say that, but I just said we realize how many more you got him.
His Instagram reel was funny today.
Yeah.
Because SCR is going to respond to that.
Like they really, maybe it was just because it was a 4-man interview and they weren't in person, so it made for some weird pauses. But it just felt like they really. I also think
they kind of do their shows, and then when we see it, it looks more polished.
Was it pre-recorded? It was pre-recorded.
Yeah.
Maybe there was a delay.
He was asking them questions, and they're like, "We can't really comment on that." Like, I don't know. It was just weird. It was watch it later, and I don't know. It just had a weird vibe about it. I don't know. It didn't give me the warm and fuzzies about future nationals. I'll say that much.
You're saying Jeff's not getting he's not getting a discount on the tables.
He might not be getting. He might have to fight to get his media pass next year.
Well, and they've been doing a lot of roundtable, and those guys aren't real good at talking anyway, at all. I don't know if they're really good at anything, to be honest with you. I've seen a few shows. I've seen a few shows, and all they're doing is talking about the same stuff we already talked about in all our videos about problems with the national. That's all they're bringing up. And they're saying
you're in the trenches taking Wi-Fi. You're just lobbing grenades in there.
And then Mangini's like, it's super easy to get cell service and Wi-Fi, and then they're blaming how old the building is on it. So I'm like, okay, somebody's not communicating here at all on communication. So it's just like I felt like I was getting a little bit of excuses out of them, not something to look for results.
Well,
I think they're just stuck in their ways.
I like Central. Was it like
I think that's
the
vibe I
hookers
got.
awkward?
I think that's the vibe I got of like, we're just the national, and we're just going to kind of keep doing what we're doing. And if you don't,
Fanatics are going to run them over. They're going to run them square over. They'll say, oh, we need the national. No, they want to run them straight over. Michael Rubin wants everything. He'll play ball and be nice until he gets to the position that he can take you out, and he'll do it.
Has the sports card market overcorrected, or is it just a natural progression of daily living? I don't know if I really understand the question.
Overcorrected?
I'm reading the comments.
No, the market's different now. The market moves over whatever happens each week.
Oh, it's overcorrected.
Progression of daily living even means.
Yeah, this is really it's way too philosophical. 2 cards for us at this stage. It's 9:38 EST. And I'm going to need to meditate for 6 hours before I can even process what you just said.
Did any of y'all catch that John Gruden's back on his YouTube channel?
Oh, I did see that. I subscribed.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know he had one, but he popped up.
Oh, yeah, I was already subscribed to it. That he just brought that. I don't know if you saw the Derek Carr interview that he did with him, because through that one episode, this is very long. Derek Carr is in a segment of that for like 5 minutes.
I'll be honest. I don't really care to hear Derek Carr speak. I just think like he's my starting.
Talking about how hard he got after it this year, and he did all his personal best on weight goals. So I figure he's going to play better.
Yeah, I just want to see action. So like, I'll listen to Alvin Kamara or whatever. I'll listen to some of those guys, but I'm used to. I had Drew Brees for 15 years, so Derek Carr. It's kind of like, or Andy Dalton or Jameis Winston or all these. We've had all these quarterbacks. It's like I'm not gonna. It's kind of like the. What is it like the girlfriend of a family member, and you're like, I'm not going to put any effort into getting to know this person until they've stuck around a little bit. It's kind of like that for me and Derek Carr. Like I'm not going to put effort into it.
I went through that for years after Marino retired.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
But the 2 most overrated performances this weekend were easily Derek Carr and Baker Mayfield.
No, not Baker.
Yeah, the Redskins are the worst secondary in the NFL. They're terrible.
Baker, that's what we're going to see all year long out of Baker.
Daniel Jones is going to torch the Redskins this week.
He's never going to have a bad game, Ham.
But Daniel Jones goes for like 300. Well, he runs the ball too much, but he goes for like 250 and 2 touchdowns, which is a good Daniel Jones game. We'll be saying the same thing.
Daniel Jones is on his way out.
I didn't say Baker wasn't good. I just said his performance was a little inflated based on the team he was playing.
Yeah. He didn't even. He won't probably do 3 touchdowns every week, but probably 2.
Mm-hmm.
What about C.J. Stroud, man? There's a lot riding on C.J. Stroud.
He's got a lot of weapons.
I just mean, think about how much money is wrapped up in C.J. Stroud.
Right. Well, you know what? If I look for Houston to win a lot of games, but I would not be surprised if Stroud's numbers were a little bit down from last year's because that team wants to run the ball.
Yeah, he overachieved last year. I mean, he's going to just overachieve every year? I mean,
Dakota's going to come normal at that point. Crash this party.
I'm doing this purposely so Dakota joins the stream, either on the chat or like. Or
I don't know if he overachieved. He's surprised. I don't know if he overachieved last year. Or he just surprised everybody, but like he could have less numbers, smaller numbers this year from on the stat sheets, but be a better quarterback.
Did y'all notice the emphasis on running the ball so far this year?
Mixon had 30 carries.
But I mean, across the league, it's just all of a sudden looked like it just slipped, and now we're back to a running league.
I think a lot of teams have and the Saints are one of these teams. They've said, you know what, my quarterback is not going to be able to dissect these defenses and throw a good ball when we need him to. Let's just get a powerhouse running game going.
Defenses always have to adjust to offenses. So if you look at how the landscape in the NFL has changed, it used to be running and defense used to win championships. Then we kind of got into this high flying, almost remind me of the run and shoot days when there was the run and shoot offense was a specific offense, 5 wide, like 1 back, 1 running back. And it seems like they don't call it that anymore, but it seems like lots of teams are running something similar to the run and shoot, and passing numbers and air yardage and things like that is like super inflated. A good defensive outing is giving up 20 points these days, when a good defensive outing used to be like, okay, we gave up a field goal today. Now it's like if you give up 20, man, we had a strong defensive showing today. We don't give up 20 points.
That and garbage points at the end of a game.
Now, rules have changed to benefit the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. And we all know that at the root of making all these changes, they might say it's to protect the players. It's for ratings. Mm-hmm. All right. The NFL is a business. If we can protect the quarterbacks and the receivers, the game's going to be more exciting. Nobody wants to see a 6-3 defensive struggle. Just like in baseball, people want to see home runs. It's not super exciting when you see a 1-0 shutout. So they changed rules. Also, they put a pitch count on the pitcher. So it's all about getting ratings for your sports, and scoring is exciting. But over time, defenses start to adjust and things. And the Chiefs last year was the most boring version of the Chiefs that we've seen in the Patrick Mahomes era. That's and true. They went out and they won a Super Bowl with good defense. And they were able to run the ball when they needed to. And look, like I have Joe Mixon in my big money fantasy league. So I'm sitting there watching this Houston Texans game, and that game was not a blowout. That was a close game. And they gave Joe Mixon 30 carries on a team with C.J. Stroud, Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, all this high-powered passing offense and weapons, and they gave the running back 30 carries. So, yeah, to what Hamm said, I did see a lot of running backs getting a lot of carries this week. The Steelers played their typical Steelers-type football where they gave Najee Harris like 20 carries. He didn't want to pass the ball all over and won a boring 15-10 game or something like that, right? So
we're going back to England 40s football. We're just going to run. It's going to be 10-7.
80s football.
Yeah, pretty much all of football up until the late 80s, 90s.
J.K. Dobbins.
Hambone, you were on Jeremy Lee's show, weren't you?
Yeah, I was on Jeremy's show. Yeah.
I haven't watched that yet. It's in the queue. How was it?
It was fun. It flew by.
Ham's big time.
I know he's really big time in us. He's going to be on like Michael Rubin show. It's like Ham's at the white party. Oh, geez.
Did y'all see
Phoenix Rising just taking a shot right to the back, Neil?
Yeah.
You okay?
The Shannon Sharp leak on Instagram.
Get that arrow out of your back.
Is that quite one of the worst moves in NFL history? The Browns giving Deshaun Watson a guaranteed contract, bringing him in for all that time.
And they have no way out of that, Neo? Like, no way?
It's fully guaranteed.
Well, they
ordered the code red this week with the allegations.
That's what I was going to say.
But why aren't the Browns? Why aren't the Browns just like let him go and just fight it in court? You know, like, hey, you know, you've got these. You're in trouble again. We're getting out of this contract. It's conduct detrimental.
I mean, I think it's what they're trying to do. I would not be surprised if Jimmy Haslam made a phone call and said, "Hey, pull this allegation out of your back pocket that we've been sitting on."
Jim in Florida said it's a $90 million cap hit, even if he's released. Now, is there stipulations in his contract?
His contract's a disaster.
Are there any stipulations though, where he has to meet any sort of like?
If any allegations come up that they did not make him aware about, then there's language. Hence why he played like shit on Sunday, and then Monday morning this comes out.
So you tell the lady at the front desk to call with an allegation.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So if he's indicted or if he's
Hamm was in on that, he made that allegation happen.
Well,
I think they still have to take the cap hit. I just think that they wouldn't have to pay him the money. I don't know how that works.
That would be a massive win for them if they can do that.
Yeah,
man,
they're screwed. He sucks.
Well, they did play Dallas. Dallas is a really good defense.
Me too. I hope that I can see Mojo. I hope I'm the
first.
Well,
you did an entire video of this, Dustin.
I did.
You were so excited when you saw that on YouTube that you're like, man, I got to do a video. This is great.
This is fantastic.
Are you going to reenact it next year?
Triggered by that?
Yeah. You can just slip stuff like that in with a few other topics. It's fun.
Dustin, did you dump your Star Jordan yet, or are you still waiting for the pump to keep going more?
Still working.
He tried to sell it to me.
What's your number that it's like?
Oh,
okay,
I did, Steve. Get out of here. No, I'm not selling that card. I'm not talking about that. It's almost like it's election season. Like Star Fleer may as well be like Republican versus Democrats. It's like, forget it. Like I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm good.
Yeah, I want to get the reprint of that card.
Yeah, let's drum up some controversy here. Come on, like what's the number? What's the number that you sell it at?
So what's the number?
It'll be when I'm laid to rest. It'll be right here next to my face, and then my kid will like dig the grave up. One of my kids will dig me up and then take it out of there and sell it.
Well, you better sell it.
We're gonna double. If you do that, though, we're gonna double check the certain number to make sure.
When people realize it's not even the real rookie card, that thing's gonna plummet.
Steve, you could be right. You could.
Yeah,
be
Mark,
right.
You know,
Brad
yours
had
is
a
actually
Jordan 83,
1984, Dustin, or is yours one of the 1990 versions?
I only carry the 1990 versions. That's all I've got.
Okay.
Well, dude, even the reprint version of that in 1995 Stadium Club, the refractor of that sells for a few $1,000s.
That's a cool card. I mean, it's all right. It's not a Fleer, but it's a cool card.
It's just odd that they reprinted a card that shouldn't exist. Or
can you show it on stream just to guarantee that you still own it?
Does chat need proof?
I don't know.
We always need proof. I can
hold if chat needs proof,
like then
where's my 52 man slot?
It's on Mike Petty's avatar.
We need to see the card, and we need to see a clear shot of the certification number.
We know everybody says it's in a bank vault, but it's in your house.
I have to. Well, it moves around. I don't keep it.
Sure, it does.
Place. It moves around.
You have an Apple tracker on it?
Yeah, it's not. There's not going to be a Dallas card show.
There's a question for Neo right there. Jim in Florida, how much are James Earl Jones Star Wars cards going for now?
They jumped up quite a bit.
Because I know you got one. You posted on IG.
Yeah, I got mine at the National.
Yeah,
I wanted to lock that thing in before something bad happened.
Yeah, because
you jinxed it, man. It's your fault.
The guy was 93. I think he lived happy.
You killed Darth Vader, man.
God damn it! You used the dark side. Neo.
He used that dark magic on him.
His best villain was Thulsa Doom. That's my hot take.
The good news about James Earl Jones is, well, good, however you want to describe it, but they made a deal with his estate to take his voice, to keep his voice going. So they'll be generating James Earl Jones' voice on the shows and the movies for the rest of time.
Yeah, I saw that. People are now selling their likeness for future roles.
Yeah, so you'll still hear James Earl Jones.
I think that was just for Vader, though. I don't know if it was like carte blanche.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be like what was he, the Conan the Barbarian villain? I don't know if we're going to hear him in that, but
he was the guy in the Sandlot with the dog.
Yeah.
Beast.
The Beast.
He was in Field of Dreams.
Mm-hmm.
He had been
He's like the most famous baseball speech of all time.
Mm-hmm.
We're going back to running backs. We're going back to the running game. And of course, the Saints didn't pay Kamara, so he'll be leaving next year. And we'll have to find him.
By running back standards.
He's 30.
Yeah, by running back standards, that's old. 28.
No, yeah, no, I know, but he's still got to. I mean, sign him for a couple of years. Get the last couple of years out of him.
So you missed the live draft on Tuesday from Seattle.
Yeah,
I was on off-centered 2 weeks ago from Prague, so people were bringing that up. Even Jeff brought it up. Was like, Steve could make it live stream from Europe, and Dustin can, and because Jeff was out in the streets of Atlanta.
To be fair, Jeff was out. I don't know, but he was out in a parking lot somewhere for about 7 minutes. So I mean, you wanted me.
7 minutes longer than you.
I could have logged in for 7 minutes if you wanted.
At least the first couple rounds, real quick.
Went to the top of the Space Needle.
She could have got
the Space Needle.
I was over there. I was hanging out with my brother. I don't get to see my brother very much over there, so I couldn't do it. Plus, it was 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. It was right in the middle of the day. It's like,
what does that matter,
dude? I was 6 hours ahead of you guys the other night.
It's only drafted night. What is it?
I was 6 hours ahead.
4 a.m. Up ladies of the night.
Exactly. He talked about Jeff's video being awkward. What about Central European hookers on live stream?
Exactly.
Talk about awkward.
They weren't awkward. You were awkward. The woman.
I wasn't awkward.
She was very
awkward because I said no.
How did is your wife okay from that?
Yeah, I told her. I said, man, you just
scarred?
No.
Dump that thing. Will the election winner impact the card market? I'm going to say no. I think the Federal Reserve is probably going to impact the card market more than any politician.
Steve, are you looking at jumping into any cards for the way you usually like to flip stuff?
Well, for football, it's probably too late.
I don't know what the way the season's going to go. Everything's going to go up every other week.
I will say the only star thing I will say is I wish that Jeff hadn't done the $144,000. I think that he probably would want that one back. I haven't talked to him about it, but that was confusing. That was a confusing mess.
You can get to the bottom of that story. You could be the one that sorts it all out.
Maybe I should do a Barbara Walters interview with him. What was going through your mind when you decided to make that video, that short or whatever it was? Did you see
his one today with getting the card?
Yeah, the Will Greer one. That was cool.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert, everybody.
I didn't watch it, man. You just spoiled it. It was next up.
My bad, yo.
Anyway, Ham, like I try to be out of any football of starters by week 4. So it would have been too late. The only stuff that I would try to make a play on is if I think that there's somebody that's going to become a starter mid-season. That's why I still have the Justin Fields stuff. I didn't know he was going to start week 1. My thing was, okay, I hope he starts sometime this season, then I have a chance to move him. And it just kind of
seems like he's starting week 2 as well. So
yeah, but now that he's starting, now he has to be successful because I wasn't able to be able to sell into the hype of him starting. You know what I mean? Now I have to sell into success, which is harder to do.
Yeah, I don't know. John keeps asking about insurance. I've got a variety. I think we're all gun owners. We all have a variety of ways to guard our stuff: dogs, cameras, guns, safety deposit box,
grenade,
insurance.
Yeah, I have a CIS policy.
We've got a variety of coverage, I would say.
I rotate things around too.
Yeah, I just move stuff around and yeah. But yeah, I have we have all the stuff.
Two cards has a fun question when you get to it. We've been asked this question kind of before, but it's probably always changing for us. Similar questions. It's just always kind of like if you had a certain budget, what are you buying without hesitation? We usually ask this type of stuff going to the national.
Where's the what? Oh, each of you guys has 3 cards. All right, go ahead, Steve.
Oh, don't start with me.
Go ahead.
Think about it. You're the ones that like to spend all quick.
Each of you guys has 3 cards to buy for $5,000 combined. Who are you buying with no hesitation?
Okay,
well, are we talking about which player? Is it which player?
Are we trying to flip these? Are we holding these? Am I just buying them because I want
Well, I
them?
guess you could give a reasoning behind each of it, because if I have 5K, I don't put it all into, like, for me, when I take my budget, some of it is for flipping, some of it is for holding, some of it's for like PC, right?
Yeah. 3 cards, I would try and separate it out as much as possible because cards at higher values are harder to move. So you want to try and get something that becomes feasible, unless you get one big card and then 2 smaller cards. Right now in the market, it seems like anything that basically eclipses $300 to $500 is your sweet spot for your high end, and then everything else below that is selling easily. Once you start hitting that 5, 6, 7,000 or plus, your amount of people that are going to be able to afford that or want to try to buy that for whatever reason just goes down really fast. I mean,
you eliminate
it drops
your
off.
demographic.
Yeah, massively. And at the shows, they're getting to the point now that you look in a case and you see a lot more cards, and you're like, well, that's kind of reasonable actually, because all the cards around it are reasonable. It's not like you're looking at a showcase with every card $1,000 to $5,000. That's not happening anymore. And I've also noticed with, like right now with Jordan Love being down, when I was at the show this past weekend, there were no Jordan Loves out. They were all wiped out. They were like, here, I'm not taking them out. They're not going to see them. So players like that have been injured, or people have a lot of money, no Joe Burrows, those type of guys, they don't have out because they've already got the money wrapped up in them, and they don't even want to field any type of recent comp on one because they know it's going to be bad. So they don't even put it out.
That's like when I was trying to buy Kyler at Culture Collision this year. Remember, you walked Culture Collision floor with me, and I couldn't find any Kyler stuff. No. I ended up doing really well off Kyler Murray, but most of the stuff that I bought, I had to get offline, off Instagram and things like that. Yep. Dealers were not putting their Kyler stuff out. And the 1 or 2 decent Kyler cards that I did see out were still priced, based on his best performances. They were still really highly priced. So they were like, you're either going to pay triple comps or you're not going to get it. That's kind of like how it was.
Right. Neo, are you going next, or Steve, are you going?
Well, Hamm never really give any cards.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'd have to be.
All right. Well,
right now, if I'm going to buy something, I'd probably try and buy a nice Shohei Ohtani, a nice Aaron Judge, and then probably look for some type of a rare Jordan that I could get graded.
There you go, Steve.
Yes. Let's see. Cards that immediately pop into my head that I want. I want a Koufax rookie. I want a Bob Gibson rookie. And they're not hard to find cards. So, we're going to be depending on the grade, what we're playing with down on this budget, because I could get those in low grade and still be well within that budget. Let's see. And then those wouldn't be to flip, of course. You don't buy vintage to quick flip it. Let's see. I want to try to think of a card that I could, of a player that I could potentially flip by the end of the football season. If I just had to buy one nice card of them, kind of put me on a spot with it.
We can come back to you if Neo's ready.
I don't know that I have 3. The only big thing in my mind right now that I'm still looking for is a Carrie Fisher auto. I don't know about the other 2. I'd have to think on that.
I saw some unopened Star Wars Sapphire. Just kind of sitting on it now.
Does Carrie Fisher also have that 77 Topps card signed, kind of like the one that you got for Hamill?
Not really, because I poked around on that because that was my initial thought.
Because that would be kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, that
would be decent cool. Pack pulled on card autos. So, but yeah, I didn't really see a good 77 Topps of her. I don't know that she did a lot of in-person signings.
All right, Neo, did you already pick cards, or Steve, are you going? No, you already picked.
Literally just gave me we literally
just back to you.
Is it okay? I'm going to go then. I'm going to say I would get 3 $1,600 to $1,700 cards for either Willie Mays or Jordan. I've been on a Michael Jordan kick, so I would say, because I have one Mays nice signature card for him, but I would actually get vintage Mays cards, 3 vintage Mays cards, adding up to $5K, or I would get some more Jordan stuff.
I know.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I know what I want that would trump anything that I already said. A decent low grade Hank Aaron rookie, the 54 Topps, and I guess they usually sell like 1,000 per grade, right? Like a 1 might be like, I guess it's vintage, so it's all depending on the eye appeal. But I could probably get like a 2 or a 3 somewhere in there, and then still have a couple $1,000s left over to buy other things. But if I wanted to eat up a chunk of that 5K, I would probably spend like maybe 2,500 to 3K on a Hank Aaron. Because I have the Willie Mays rookie and the Jackie Robinson, so I feel like having a Hank Aaron would be like that's the one that's missing. You know, I pretty much know that I can't get a Mantle. I mean, I want a 51 Bowman Mantle, but when you're, that's out of
What's
the
the
price
low grade
range.
on that? Like $5 or $6 now?
Well, if it is, and I could spend my money on one card, then that might be the one that I get. But I don't know.
Yeah, is this Reckoning? John Reckoning?
I don't know.
John? I'm assuming it's got to be John. Is this John?
No, it
Reckoning?
usually says John something else.
Yeah, it's usually something else, but maybe
he would be tuning in for my channel probably.
No, well, he's not on mine.
Michael Stone said the Gotti
He's not on
area
mine.
is one of my favorites. I mean, I'd really like to add a nice Bonds auto to my collection, and then a nice early Pujols auto, because I'm probably not going to be able to get into his what would be his Bowman first auto, but just something that's like 2002, 2003, maybe with like a jersey piece to it, I think would be really nice. I think Pujols is undervalued still. If you go just look at all his stats and what he did, even compared to other players, it's ridiculous.
Neil would be far more likely to spend $5K on Marvel masterpieces or a Marvel product than Topps Chrome basketball.
I got a box. My box is
say?
sitting right here, the one that I haven't opened yet.
Oh, bam! You got a big. You got a one.
Is it worth opening or lighting on fire? Which is more valuable?
Both are the same thing. So.
Did Blaise ever cash in on the bounty? I know that the person denied.
No one's really said anything about that since.
I think we're going to see that card at auction after it gets graded.
Yeah,
somebody got it.
So he had the $1 million bounty on the true Superfractor 1/1 auto, and then it got pulled, and then the person wouldn't contact him. The person didn't want to sell it.
I think that shows just how many people don't watch any social media at all. I think it's kind of funny. Like, I'm sure, like in our little world, it's like, oh my God, there's all these bounties. The average person's going and buying cards, and they have no idea that there's a bounty on anything, probably.
So here's the original 1/1 that was pulled from the USA set. That was originally on Facebook first, in Marketplace, before it even hit Instagram or anywhere else.
All right, this is definitely Reckoning. So we got Michael Jackson's parents. Who are they, Steve?
The triple auto didn't hit yet, did it?
Steve
No, nobody's seen it, but they are.
The Diana Ross, Michael Jackson, Smokey Robinson triple auto.
That's right.
That would be a hell of a card. It would still be a hell of a card, regardless of what you think.
John, does that exist?
That.
I bet that card exists somewhere. Where is it?
Yeah,
out there.
It's probably on some memorabilia somewhere. We are the world.
Puka on IR.
Yep.
Puka.
Oh, bouncing around. Yeah, John, if you could log into all of them just so we can kind of boost the numbers a little bit, that'd be great.
Boost them.
Yeah, Neo's been CT scanning that thing for a couple of weeks now, trying to see what's
not working.
Oh, Jacob, I actually think Topps Chrome basketball don't look that bad.
I got a box if you want to buy a box.
So like here's one of the autos I pulled out of my megas. It doesn't look bad, but most of them do.
Actually, some of the inserts are fine, but the base cards are just like,
bad. Try to see if I have
a live rip and ship right now.
Live rip and ship. Here's sudden impact.
We can pretend like we're on Whatnot or Fanatics Live and start screaming about hits and BS.
Here's a rookie. What is this little basketball design look? What's that called, Neil? Where it's like leopard print, but it's supposed to be basketball.
What? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Leopard print.
Look at him. It's Jet.
What are you talking about, leopard print?
Look at the top of this card. It's got like leopard print.
You're live streaming from a Motorola Razr. It's not that easy to see.
It's not a Razr. It's a Logitech.
I can't see it.
Okay, I'll send y'all a really close pic later.
You must have bought the same camera Ziggy uses.
Oh,
no, my camera's much better than Ziggy's.
Oh, them fighting words.
Shots fired.
Now the girls that he operates, the camera's much better than the one I have.
What do we got to do? We put this on screen, then we complain that everyone's not bidding enough. Is that how this works?
Can we auction it off in chat?
The bidding starts at 400 in the chat,
and you can sign, and Neo will sign it.
Oh god.
So that way, when he removes the plastic, they can
Then
keep the
when we
signal.
hit a Wemby out of 5 red auto, and then my camera cuts out.
Is that your fear?
Yeah, you'll definitely be dipping a Wimby out of 5. That's gonna all of a sudden, yeah, Neo just drops off the stream immediately.
So I have a question. I have a question when it comes to licensed products or unlicensed products, because some people have some of the people are like,
you've got our attention, Steve.
But some people are like, I don't like the unlicensed products. It's unlicensed trash. Some people like it. Some people actually defend it by talking about like the 1981 Joe Montana, right?
Yeah, they pulled a one example of like a huge card.
But my question is, how come in 1981 Topps football was able to use the team names on the cards?
It's a little confusing. Because it
So
says 9. It says 9.
I did hear a story about. I don't remember the story, but most of the cards in the 70s actually for football are all non-licensed. Walter Payton rookie cards non-licensed.
But they're allowed to use the team names. They don't just have to use the city.
I think they can use this.
So along those lines,
no, I'm talking about the name. Joe Montana's rookie card has 49ers on it.
Correct.
Art Monk's rookie card from the same set has Redskins on it. It doesn't say San Francisco and Washington. Nowadays, you can't use the team name. Now.
It's kind of similar like the Interlake. So this is the Interlake.
What is that giant thing?
This is a poster. This is the poster.
Get ready, AIH.
Tomorrow, Neo and everybody can make a video on it tomorrow. The Interlake.
Why don't you make yourself full screen?
That's not a poster.
How do I do myself full screen?
It's a jumbo card.
Like this. Okay. Yeah, it looks way better now. So 85 Interlake. This is not, from my understanding, this was licensed by the team. So like the Chicago Bulls, that's why you have the Bull stuff on it. But I don't think it's NBA licensed. I think it's just, it was basically the Chicago Bulls made a deal with the local Boy Scouts or the local community center, and they gave these away. But that's like, I don't know. So like it's got Bulls and stuff on it, but it's not obviously like it's not out of a set. It's just kind of like a giveaway thing that, from 1985. So there you go. All sorts of random things. How do I bring all you guys back?
You messed it up.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go. All sorts of fun stuff in the 80s.
Yeah, but I was just curious because nowadays they can't use the team logos or like the nickname. They can only use the city name. But back then they weren't using the logos, but they were able to use the team nicknames.
There's just probably different licensing at the time before it was developed. I know in the early 80s when that happened is when that changed. Somebody did a video on it. I don't remember who at the moment. I probably saw it about a week ago that went through the whole process discussing about cards from the 70s all the way up through the 80s. It might even honestly have been, I think Carlos was talking about it in one of his past videos where he went through that whole process to explain, what's the big problem with unlicensed. You have an era of cards that are all unlicensed, but nobody complains about it because there was no other option is also.
Well, it's also the only other option. When it's the only option, correct. It's either that or nothing.
But you're just using the point that there was an unlicensed product for a very long time in a sport that we consider the main cards of that sport for that time because there was no options other than.
But I feel like the fact that the cards actually had the NFL team nickname on the card, it made people a lot of times not even realize that those cards were missing logos. Plus, those cards are so old. Okay, I'm going to be honest. When the first time I saw a Joe Montana rookie card as a kid, I didn't know that was an unlicensed product and it was missing the 49ers logo. Mm-hmm. I figured, oh, this is an old 49ers card. They must not have had logos on their helmets back then. As a kid, that was my honest, innocent thought was, the 49ers back in the 80s didn't even have a logo. They just wore gold helmets.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was missing a logo because of licensing. So I grew up on that card thinking it was a completely licensed product, and that's just the way that their helmets looked back then. If you look at the Cleveland Browns now, they still don't carry a logo.
Yeah. I don't know what the difference was back then, being able to use the physical team name versus now. I don't know where that changed.
So, like for me growing up, and that being an iconic card, if you had that card in my neighborhood, you were the rich kid. So if you had a Montana rookie growing up, Like, that was the card to have. So I still look at that card as being iconic. And for me, it's I don't look at it as an unlicensed card. I looked at it as I always thought that card was licensed. As a kid, you don't even know anything about licensing and stuff anyway.
Yeah, as a kid, you're not.
As that card always being in my mind, the 49ers didn't have logos back in 1980 on their helmets. That's always what I thought. And so to me, that's still the mindset.
I think there's just so much more money in it nowadays, man. If you think back to like, even in 1990 when it was bustling, when it was busy, there was not how many $10,000 cards were there in 1990? I mean,
it had to be vintage.
Like you're talking about, like, Mantle stuff. I mean, but it was limited. You're talking about a really limit. I mean, hell, now you got Justin Herbert's got like a zillion $10,000 cards.
Anybody that has a 1-on-1 card now.
Like there's endless cards, like that. So I don't know. I think maybe that's why people are more hopped up on all the little details because of the amount of money that's in it now.
I still want somebody to challenge the licensing and just to see if they can win it. It was in 95 with Pacific, where basically they had to throw it out of court because they were going to lose the case. So they said, okay, you can just keep it. We're just going to close this out and nobody's going to sue anybody because they were going to lose the case.
This is a good roundtable question.
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to pull that one next.
Marshawn Lattimore. All right, let's start with you, Hamm. Is there anything that could happen to make you leave the hobby? And I guess what they're getting at is just all the controversy scams and different things. That's what they're getting at. Or I guess just, I don't know, your cards lose all your value, anything. Like what's the...
No, if you know what again, I'm not trying to buy into everything. Most people aren't anymore. We're becoming much more picky and choosy with what we get into, and breakers are even starting to see this with specific product where obviously it sells out immediately, and then other stuff where it takes 5 hours to sell a damn case. They're noticing that as well. And when that starts happening, unless they're forced to buy product, they're going to stop buying that product. And it's just going to have to either go down or somebody's going to have to do something with it. I only target very specific things or things I want to chase. Now, I like the thrill of the hunt and opening product and getting into breaks here and there. And that's my gambling aspect of life. I don't play scratch offs hardly or anything. So that's my game that I like to play. Now, I can always collect anything going backwards in time, and I can always play with all the new stuff because let's face it, we all have exciting players on the team we like, and we want to get some cards. That's just how it is. So for me, I'm never going to actually just leave the hobby or stop collecting something because I'm a collector by nature. But, I might take a hiatus to where I'm not going to spend money on stuff for a few months, just waiting for something better to come out.
That's fair. Neo, what do you say?
Yeah, I don't see myself ever leaving. I agree with Hamm. I could see maybe like a step back or a change in pattern, but I don't know. I mean, I've collected something since I was 5, so it might change. I might not spend as much money. I might go more casual or whatever, but I don't see myself ever completely stopping cold turkey from collecting something. Would I stop collecting sports cards for a couple of years? Maybe. Like I could potentially see a scenario where that happens, but I don't see me ever not collecting something.
Steve, last week.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm kind of in that right now. I'm kind of in that.
Steve's got an announcement to make, everybody.
I mean, you want an honest answer? I mean, right now I'm kind of in that lull right now where I'm just contemplating not quitting the hobby, but I'm like, what do I want to do next? Like, I feel like the original part of the hobby, like I talked about being a kid and stuff, is the part that I'm still attached to. I feel a big disconnect from all the new stuff that's happening. It's just not me. And I'm not saying that it's bad. It's just not me. It's not the hobby that I grew up on. And, I'm a little bit older. I'm not going to say that I don't like change and that I don't like growth or progression. That it's none of that. It's just, to me, the innocent part of the hobby that I grew up on seems to be a little bit more on the back burner when it comes to importance. And I guess importance is relative to the person, right? But it seems like the stuff that's being pushed, like every day when I go through my YouTube feed or I go through my Instagram feed, I'm seeing stuff about the hobby, and whether it's good or whether it's bad or whether it's something positive that's happened or something that's negative that's happened, it just feels like it's something that's not me. It's not the hobby that I grew up on. So to me, do I want to grow and evolve with the hobby the way that it is? And, with it being bigger business and being mainstream and stuff like that, I don't. Now, that's not saying that I don't want to see the hobby go in that direction. That's just saying I'm more of a behind the scenes type person. I'm not the kind of person that is wanting to get caught up in all the new stuff. So I'll continue to collect and I'll look for cool stuff and things like that. But I have so many interests, like Neo said, other than sports. You guys know how much I love music. You guys know how much I love movies. And time, right? We're all limited on the amount of time that we have. That's what makes it hard for me to put out videos. And not to say that I have any less time or my time's any more important than the other three guys that you see on this panel. It's just collecting does take time. Doing stuff in the hobby does take time. You got to hunt, you got to look, you got to keep up. And I have so many other things that I enjoy to do. Like I love to walk on the beach and look for stuff. I love to do stuff with my dog and things like that. And could I see myself being like, what do I want to do today? Go to a card show or go to the beach with my dog, right? And when you have limited time, you got to make a choice. So it's kind of like there will be times when I go through lulls like this because there's other things that I prefer to do. But to get to the final answer to the question, I will always be collecting, and sports cards will always be part of me. Whether I'm participating in it or not, it'll always be a part of me because I was raised on it. It's my childhood. It's something that I've known. And as much of the childhood part of it that is being removed by the direction that the hobby is going, I still have that part that I can hang on to.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. I mean, a lot of us came back in. I joke about like the midlife crisis coming back in, whether it's 5, 6, 7 years ago or whatever, kind of getting back into collectibles. But, what draws you back in is that, that connection to your childhood. So it is definitely a part of kind of the fabric of your life. I guess the one thing too, when you say leaving the hobby, that means to me that you basically just sell everything and you move on. Like you have zero cards, you have zero interest. But how many people have a collection of stuff or cards, but maybe they come in and out of it? I know, actually, I had a couple people. I had Carl Bursa commented on my YouTube video, I think today or yesterday, and he hasn't commented in probably a year. I haven't seen him in a while. And but that can happen where someone still has their stuff, but they, like Steve said, like everyone's got their daily life. Everyone's got, we all have a bunch of different things going on outside of this. This is just a small part of our kind of our day that we get to hang out and, feel nostalgic and all that good stuff. But so to fully leave it, I don't know, and the part about scams and controversy and stuff, you can also avoid a lot of that stuff. If you look at kind of where do the scams live? I mean, you can figure out, okay, where is that most prevalent? I'm not going to hang out there. I mean, hell, you can just have binders of cards, from the 80s. That's what we grew up on and be perfectly happy with that. So you can always, that's why, we can always just kind of pick our spots. I bought 2 graded video games today. So I've got, variety of different collectibles, categories that I enjoy. So, I don't know, but as far as cards go, I can't see myself just selling every last thing I've got. I just don't see it. I don't see it. All right.
What games did you buy?
I got an original Donkey Kong,
Okay.
NES. And the other one, I'm not going to talk about it because I am trying to get more of them. I am trying to get more of them. And not to say anyone in the chat collects graded video games, but they don't pop, like the one that I want, it doesn't pop up that much. And this one just happened to pop up at a good price. It's like one of those deals where it's like there's one on eBay for $5,000. And then all of a sudden one pops up at $450. And you're like, oh, shit.
Oh, it's a reasonable price.
Yeah, exactly. So,
like the Tim Burton card.
I'll translate that for you. I need to buy more before I talk about it so I can pump it. I need to establish.
Don't let AI see this.
He needs to establish his inventory before he talks about it, and the price shoots up.
Raised and looking for something.
He's even buying multiple of them so then he can sell them off.
Yeah. When you see me going off, when I have got a dozen video games and I'm just all about it, then yeah, absolutely.
Mike Petty's got a comment I kind of want to comment on.
Where is it?
And I'm sure he's just busting.
Wait, what? Can you tell us what system it is? I
10,
assume it's
19.
Nintendo, but
So actually, plot twist. It's a more of a modern game. I'm playing kind of more of a long-term look at it. To where I think it's going to be
combat. What do you got?
No.
I'm not
talking
telling you. I'll ask you when we leave the screen.
Grim 77 knows what's up.
Grib 77. It's Will Greer. It's Will Greer. It's Will Greer.
That market's cornered already.
It's Will Greer. Is this the Mike Petty thing?
Yeah.
Collect $100 bills and 1 ounce gold coins like cheap Krugerrand. I promise.
Krugerrand.
Here's the other thing too: is like we're not retiring on the cards, guys. Like we all
that's
have,
what I was,
we
that's
all have
what I was
other
about to
stuff
say.
too.
Like when we talk about the hobby, we're talking about like collecting, and as kids, we didn't even care, right? We're just talking about the addiction of the collecting or the whatever it does for you. You're right. It's going to be different for everybody. It's going to give everybody a different kind of high. But there's other ways to make money, right?
Oh yeah. Like I said,
I'm not collecting and in the hobby, and yeah, I have flipped cards and made money on the side, but by never have I depended on flipping a card to pay my bills.
Yeah, I've made more money when I would go
enjoy my
to
life or to go on vacation, right? I go on vacation out of what I make from my job. Like there's ways to make money. And even if you were like in the stock market and things like that, that's not necessarily a hobby as it is a money-making venture. So yeah, we all like to collect. We all like to make money. We all probably like to spend money more than we like to make money. So we have to make it. But the thing that relieves us from that is the hobby. I'm sure I don't need to tell that to Mike Petty. I'm sure he's just messing around, but still.
No, I mean, gold Krugerrand people collect. I mean, it's technically gold, but it's also a little better than gold because of its collectability. So it's just kind of like the pandas as well.
What's funny about this?
Invest in gold. If I want to invest in gold, that's because I'm trying to make some money. I'm going to invest in gold, and hopefully it's gold. But this gold is not doing anything for me, right? Is it even tangible? I'm just saying, like,
I mean, technically.
Yeah,
I just like to have gold bullion around so I can make rap videos with it.
But gold bullion's around for the end of the world because the dollar bill ain't worth nothing.
Let me pull out this piece of gold so I can enjoy it. It reminds me of a rock.
The ET on Atari. So to answer Brett here, this is kind of funny. There's a documentary about, of course, Atari came out with ET and it basically ended the video game market in 1983 because they rushed it out for Christmas in like 1982 or 83. And it was the worst game on Atari. Yep. And they ended up, so there's a documentary on this. They ended up burying like 1 million copies out in the desert. And so these guys are going out and trying, and it's kind of like this urban legend thing. Like, is this real? Did this actually happen? It's kind of like mantle cards being dumped in the river or the ocean or whatever the hell. It's like, so they go out digging, looking for these. They think they have an idea, and they find them. They find them in under the ground, and now there's graded versions of the ones that were from the ground, and they fetch pretty decent money. Yeah. So it's just, I don't know. It's just funny how, but yeah, all that stuff, the Atari, the original NES stuff, those are vintage video games, which is kind of funny because, that's like the 80s, late 70s, 80s. That's all the vintage video games. That's the Honus Wagner. That's the Honus Wagner of video games.
This past weekend, I saw a triple floppy disk of Dungeons and Dragons in the box with everything still in it. I'm like, how much you want for that? He goes, I don't know if I'm going to sell it. It's not worth. It's only worth like $70, but still, just to have. When's the last time you saw a floppy disk?
I was going to say, speaking of floppy disk, not in person, but on my flight to London, I was watching movies and I watched Weird Science, 1980s movie.
One of my favorite movies.
And so they're about to make the girl on the computer, and they're like, the computer is so old school, and they put a floppy disk in it, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I remember all that.
1 megabyte.
They actually created Kelly LeBrock from a floppy disk. Come on.
Scrapple commodities market.
Scrapple, man. The meat of the future.
You know what? We need to hoard those drinks that they sell in Delaware. My God.
Oh, yeah. I was, where was I? I was at a, fantasy football draft last week. And I was at a bar. I walk in and I'm sitting, one of my friends is already there. I'm like, man, what are you drinking? He's like, Orange Crush, man.
Orange Crush. That's it. Orange Crush. Man.
He's like, Orange Crush. I was like, oh, man, I need to get one. I haven't had one of those in a little while.
I'm at the end of the chat, guys.
There's
We're 20 in.
I have a local card show coming up. Another one of those small ones, like I went to in Ocean City, Maryland, a month or two ago. It's been longer than that, probably. But I went to one in Ocean City. It was just a one-day Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning card show. There's another one coming up in Ocean City also. It's at a different location. It's on a Saturday, I think October 5th. So I think I'm going to go out to that and see if I can get the vibes and the feel off of a small local show. And they're those smaller shows with like 50 tables and sell a lot of like hometown favorites and things. But it'll be cool to get out. And actually, oh no, Brad Noble, he's not in chat tonight. He's the one that sent me the advertisement for it because he lives over that way. Like I realized that there's actually people that watch my channel that don't live very far from me. Like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I'm like, damn.
You're gonna start going to the houses. You're gonna do some door work.
Oh, well, I told him. I said, "Look, man, you live right in Ocean City, and I'm like right up near Dewey.
Some
it's
property.
Like, no, just get together, have a drink sometime. I'm not above hanging out with people that I meet in the chat.
Oh, neither am I.
And then you get to a show and you meet them, and it's even more cool. You realize a lot of them are just like you, right?
2 cards.
Trigger finger.
Are you serious? Trigger fingers?
Yeah.
Yeah. 1026.
Oh my God. Well, let's just say 2 cards. It all depends on what you have in the portfolio. There's obviously a lot of stuff from 2021 is not where it was, but then there's some things that are higher than they were in 2021. So it really just kind of depends on what you got in there. All right. Steve, are you going to the Philly show?
Oh, that's a good question. Undecided right now. It's going to all depend because it'll have to be one of those where I pull the gauntlet, where I get off work early in the morning at like 5 or 6 a.m., head straight to Philly, go to the show for a couple hours, come home, and go back to work. So,
right off the ladies of the night.
Which I've done it. I did it in a Philly show, and I did it at a Chantilly show, so I could maybe do it at another Philly show. Here's the thing. I still have a graded card order that needs to go out, believe it or not. I mean, I've just been chilling this summer. And going into this summer, I still have about 40 or 50 raw cards that need to go in for grading. And I just haven't gotten around to it. I don't need the money. I don't need to flip them. I know that they're there. And I'm just kind of like right now, I'm just kind of like taking a little bit of a break from all of that. You know, I'm still collecting for me, but as far as the flipping and buying raw and grading and, you know, I just am right now, I'm just relaxing. And I get back to it when I get bored. Summer will be over soon, and I'll have more time. Daylight here will cut back. I'll lose hours of daylight here and be like, okay, well, can't go out, do certain things, and I'll be back to the cards.
Yeah, Brett thinks that Bob Boozle and Triggerfinger have never been seen in the same place. It's kind of, yeah, did Bob Boozle accidentally log into his Triggerfinger account?
Yeah, but the thing is that Triggerfinger was paper clipped, I think, from my channel. And I don't think Bob Boozle is usually paper clipped from my channel.
I think he'll join. I think
he might. See, I've had Triggerfinger on live stream with me before when I used to do the Monday night lives. He was a guest.
Zach, who wants to see a hobby burnout video? I can make one just for fun. Who's making hobby burnout videos for fun? I'll make one.
I did one a month ago.
You did?
Yeah.
You're not burnt out though.
I was a month ago. I'm not now.
I think sometimes
wax.
I think sometimes people got hobby burnout. I think they look at the wrong definition. Just because I'm more interested in doing other things with my time right now doesn't mean I'm hobby burnout. It just means that I prefer to do something else.
Steve wants to get outside and touch grass occasionally.
Yeah, gotta get
that's what the kids are saying these days. Get outside and touch grass. Actually, I yelled at my daughter. I told my daughter to do that today, actually. So
I have I'm going to a trade night this weekend.
Dude, Neo lives the life. Neo's a road warrior. Neo's like a
I'm going to Card Collector 2 Rip Night.
You're in I saw the whole promotion and everything. Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I made it a point to go to a
down
show
with
or
hobby
in a shop.
celebrities.
You're like you're WWF before WWE. You're like the WWF you're on the road. You're like
Mama Breaks is coming to that thing. I'll be with the hobby celebrity.
You're gonna have a card. You're gonna have a Topps.
You're gonna have a bunch of Instagram photos with everybody.
You're gonna have a Topps card.
I don't know.
I'm living the influencer.
Are they gonna make a Topps card just with your logo, not your face?
Yeah, that would be my top.
I had asked Mama Breaks to be in the fantasy league.
Did you?
Oh man! All right,
Yeah,
we're
she
doing a
said
hobby
no.
burnout video. I'll make up some story about how this sucks and whatever.
You could talk about how your depression from being accused of pump and dumping Star Jordan has ruined the hobby for you.
It's just wearing me down, guys. I need to like act out night terrors or something. I'm gonna have a clip of me just like coming out of bed screaming and just throw that in. Man, there's so many good things I could do with that.
If I was really burned out, I wouldn't have hunted down a card shop when I was in Budapest and wasted $500 on a Panini one box.
Jim Everett didn't burn you out
to get the old screw job.
They asked Steve, "Do you have anything to declare?" And he's like, "No, there was nothing in this. It's worthless."
Where is the Jim Everett?
I don't even think I've unpacked it.
I left it there.
No, I've unpacked all my clothes and everything from my backpack that I took with me to Europe. But I think it's still like in one of the front. It's still like in one of the front pouches.
He needs to travel around and you make little appearances in all your travel videos now, like when you go to shows and stuff.
I need to put it through the ringer like I did the Aaron Rodgers slab.
You don't want to bust up a nice card. A kid might want that or something one day.
This ain't a charity. I spent $500 on that. Like if it was a $20 Jim Everett, and I was like, okay, here, this is for
set up at a show.
That's a $500 Jim Everett.
Set up at a show and put a $500 sticker on it. Just be like, that's my lowest. Can't
do
take
you like Roth cards and have like the whole showcase has like 5 cards in it, and it's Jim Everett. It's just a bunch of Jim Everett.
I'm going to get my Jim Everett money worth out of my Jim Everett.
You know what you got to do?
Either way, throw it off a tower or something.
There's an easy way to get out of this. You just have to buy another one, and then that'll be $1,000 card in that box, and then you're saved. That's how it works.
So Dwayne says his wife is from Bratislava. He messaged me that also, or commented on my YouTube video when I was there. He goes there every year. Bratislava was cool. It was a cool little city.
Neo's burnout video was depressing. Well, then it was done right? I mean, shouldn't the burnout video really kind of be a drag?
It was pre-national. It was about not having anything to target at the national and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And then I was having a great national. So
I know I watched it. I'm sure yeah.
What's your next product you're going to buy, Neo?
Neo wants to be hobby president.
I'll probably make a run at Topps Chrome Sapphire baseball.
Neo for hobby president.
Logan Paul slap chains. Whatever happened to Jake Paul fighting Mike Tyson? I thought that was
still happening. He got pushed back. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he fought somebody else in the meantime, didn't he?
Not that I know of.
I thought he did. I thought he just beat somebody.
I like watching Logan Paul's
the night
podcast he does on YouTube. That's fun.
Guys, we're pushing 200 on the stream tonight. Thank you for everybody for logging into your extra accounts, having your parents log in, having the dogs log in, cats, and a lot of cats in Ohio logging in just to stay out of the way, staying out of the way.
I got a good herd going through this weekend. I got to get out there and fill up the freezer. Winter's coming.
Neo is the ultimate warrior.
Jon Snow.
Neo's sleeping out of the car.
Baby.
Neo's sleeping out of the car. Like he's on the road. He's working it.
Hey man, I got to pay off this DJI Pocket 3 that I bought.
Oh, this is the comment you were talking about, Steve. I'm a little behind.
Yeah, I did.
Not too far though. Has an air of pompous to it, confidence, whatever you want to call it. I'm all for it. John Reckoning. I'm assuming that's John Reckoning.
And if not, you're just naming him John Reckoning.
I know. John's like, who the hell is John Reckoning?
That means John Reckoning is going to get pissed because you thought that he was someone else.
I mean, he made a video about me. He said that I was going to turn into a zombie a couple years ago.
He said a bunch of things about Dracula.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That's still accurate.
For another name for the Dark Lord, I think I got called that once. Like we've run the gamut of stuff. Okay.
So Jake Paul fought a guy named Mike Perry or something. He was like a bare knuckles champion. He fought him instead of Tyson, and won in the 6th round. I thought I had seen that. I just couldn't remember who it was.
Oh, Trigger and Dax says hello. Trade straight jackets each time each week. It's funny. Oh, Trigger coming in hot. He's coming in hot.
Well, it's nice to see that he's nice and loose.
He's coming in hot.
Neo, how much are these Sapphire boxes going to be?
I think they were $350 for Montgomery Club, so it should be around that price.
Is that going to guarantee an auto?
Yep, 1 auto per box.
Huh.
Probably won't be able to get them. They'll probably do their
Dwayne?
dumb EQL, whatever, lottery system BS.
Oh, damn. It's not John Reckoning, I don't think now.
I told
Crap.
you.
They could be lying. You don't know.
No idea who John, but I think I might like him. Okay, so maybe it's just different John.
Is he pulling a fast one on you?
So Phoenix says, have any of us seen I guess there's a new Alien movie, but no, but I was supposed to go see the Beetlejuice movie tonight.
Me too. No spoilers.
I didn't. That's why I'm here. Remember last night you were like, is everybody good for live stream tomorrow night? And I was like, I'm not sure. I might be doing something. And then
instead of busting your balls.
Instead of going to the movie tonight, we just were after the party here at the house last night, setting up yesterday, partying last night, clean up today. We were going to go to the movie, and we just kept saying, okay, we'll go to the next show. We'll go to the next show. And it just got later in the day. And we were like, hey, let's just go grab some dinner and then come home. And that's what ended up happening. We'll go see the movie next week.
Yeah, it's got to be next week for me. We're going to head out of town.
Yeah, Dustin's coming to Baltimore. I can't believe he's not coming to my house. He's one day in Baltimore or something. I'm like, dude, you could have stayed here. You could have been here for the party last night.
Are you working on Friday?
You could have crashed here. Yes.
You work all the time, man. I'm going to be there on Friday. I'm going to be there for the concert. Friday, we're going to hang out. Friday, we're just hanging out in Baltimore.
I mean, I don't have to work. I don't have to work until late at night, till 9 p.m.
Right on into Baltimore. You and the wife come hang out.
Are you staying downtown, Dustin, or?
I don't do any of I have no idea. I didn't plan any of it. We're staying at a hotel near the concert. But we're going with another couple. We're Sans kids. So
I'll have to remind me after the stream. I know a really good breakfast place in downtown Baltimore.
Oh, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What's your Google reviews on photos for food and stuff, Neo?
What's that?
What are your Google reviews for leaving comments and stuff on places you go to eat?
I never comment on them. I never leave reviews.
Well, I mean,
I do that. My Google review is actually really good for all the food.
I finally realized why Neo put us in the hood in Cleveland. It was to get back at me for the boardwalk and the New Jersey Atlantic City pizza.
I tell you what, I'm not complaining though about paying $230 for my entire stay. I mean,
oh no, it was worth it. It was
it definitely worked out.
When we first pulled in, I was like, meh, this could go either way, but it was great. It was great.
All right, Steve. That one guy was like, "Y'all are staying in the hood."
Did you leave Boss Chicken a review, Ham?
Yeah, I did.
Well, especially because we told Neo originally a part of the neighborhood we were looking at, and then he's like, "Nah, you want to be on the other side of town." So we booked the other side of town.
So imagine if you would have been on the other. Imagine if you would have been on the east side.
Right.
Oh man. Ooh, shots fired. CC2 can only drink Yoo-hoo. Whoa. I'm just trying to stir it up. Anyone else got anything? Anyone else got anything? I'll bring it up here. Let's bring it up. CC2 can only drink Yoo-hoo. Oh, no. What are you going to do when you're there? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We pulled a card. We pulled a card.
I got to do the YouTube face.
Oh my gosh. We pulled a card.
Hey, that's Neo's boy out there in Ohio, man. You better cut it out.
I know. I like CC2. I don't even really know him, to be honest. I don't really know him, so I don't.
Yeah, whatever. Had any interaction with him?
It's whatever. He bought cards from me at the Atlantic City National. I stood in his line, and he gave me good prices on cards. So that was just trying to get rid of. So I have nothing bad to say about him. Jacob, usually eating waffles and junk slabs for Breck.
That's drama.
What's great so my wife grew up in Italy and has not seen any of these movies or shows in English. She's seen some of them, but like Beetlejuice, I watched Beetlejuice with my wife for the first time. Like, she had not seen it. This was like a year ago. She had never seen it. So that's actually kind of fun. It's like watching it with someone for the first time and they're like, oh, okay, all right, whatever. She thought it was okay.
Well, I told you I went to that opera. We talked about that already, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember because I feel like I haven't live streamed since I've been home, other than the draft the other night. But I forget that halfway through my vacation, we probably talked about some stuff because we live streamed from vacation, or I live streamed from vacation. It was late at night, man. I don't even remember what we talked about. Now I remember everything we talked about, actually.
So you thought the opera was cool to be in there for like 5 minutes and be like, hey, we did it, we saw it, and then it was kind of like, all right, I'm ready.
No, well, what I thought was, okay, I didn't know what to expect. My wife and I have never been to one, and I don't even know if it's our type of vibe because I don't know if it's I don't know. It's a very proper thing, right? We're very laid back and chill. We're beach people and stuff. So to go to like Europe, not only am I not going to my first opera here in the States, I'm in Europe, so it's a different culture, right? And I'm just like, well, we're going to do this because it's an experience. There's lots of things I did on this vacation that I did because I figured I'll probably never get the chance to do them again. So, what's the theme, Michael Hamm? What's the theme coming out of this year's National? Hamm, you forgot already?
I did forget. Remind me.
One life, man.
Oh, one life. That's right.
How'd you forget?
Anyway. I'm busy looking around crap in my room.
That's what Steve
like
told me.
I told you guys when we were live streaming last time. Remember, we were live streaming and it was like 4 a.m. and I was like, well, the sun comes up here around 6. I said, so at 5:30, I'm going to walk over to the Charles Bridge and watch the sun come up from the Charles Bridge because I'll never be able to do this again. And I did. I stayed up and I woke my wife up. I said, you'll never believe what just happened. A hooker just tried to pick me up. I said, now get up out of bed and we're going to walk over to the Charles Bridge and watch the sunrise.
We're going to go find that girl.
And that's what we did. Not find the girl, but
I may have to figure you're just continuing the conversation.
But anyway, yeah. But so the opera going in, I said to my wife, I said, look, if this isn't your cup of tea, we can leave after the first scene because we don't know if we're going to be enjoying ourselves or not. This is just kind of like, hey, we're here, let's do it. We always have the story to tell. So, and I'm like, and it was also like a surprise that I was taking her. So I was like, don't feel like you're going to hurt my feelings if you don't like it. So the first scene is over and I'm ready to go. Right. I'm like, this isn't me. Like, I'm not like feeling it. Like it's boring. Kind of. The singing is nice. The orchestra's awesome. Okay. You forget that there's a live orchestra down in the pit. You feel like you're listening to a soundtrack. The orchestra is so good. But anyway, I'm like, I'm just not feeling the story. It's moving kind of slow. It's what I'm thinking. So the first intermission takes place. I say to my wife, I said, so what do you think? I said, so what do you think? And she's like, I'm actually really enjoying it. And I'm like, God, in the back of my head, I'm like, fuck. So I'm sorry. But anyway, she's like, I'm really enjoying it. She goes, but it's up to you. I'm like, no, don't put the decision on me. If you're really enjoying it, we'll stay. And then, I don't know, it started picking up. I went from wanting to leave after the first scene to like at the end, like standing up and crying. Oh, so good. Oh, so sad. Right. But anyway, it was good. It ended up being really good. The only downside, all those buildings in Central Europe, they're big, nice, beautiful, architectural, awesome buildings. None of them have air conditioning. So It was hot in there. I mean, they're like architectural marvels, but they don't have AC. So it was hot in there and there was a dress code. You had to dress semi-decent. Like it wouldn't kick you out, but you're not supposed to go in like t-shirts and shorts.
So like the restaurant we ate at in Chicago for 5 hours?
Yeah, well, I mean, I took a shirt and a tie and like dress pants. I basically took a suit, but I didn't wear the sports coat. It was just way too hot for that. But I had a, long sleeve button up and a tie and things on. And there were some people there in tuxedos and there were some people there in t-shirts and you could tell that they were the tourists.
It's my first opera.
Yeah, they just walk in. I mean, when the person taking your ticket at the gate is dressed nicer than you, I mean, it's kind of. But
all right, boys. It is 10:45. We have got 180 some people in the viewership. We appreciate you. I have to get up early, and yeah, I think
Brett S. I just want to hit Brett S. real quick. I totally agree. He just is saying something about Vienna, which is one of the cities I was just in. If I had to pick a city out of all the trip that I just went on to go back to, it would be Prague. That was my favorite city I was in. But if I had to pick a city to live in, it would have been Vienna. That sounds kind of weird. You would think you would want the favorite city you enjoyed. I just feel like I would get bored with Prague quicker. Like eventually I'll become bored with Prague, where Vienna was more.
You got more hookers than
where Vienna had more to it, and Vienna was super refined and really nice and really clean. And it had its super cool historical stuff, and then it also had its cool modern upbeat stuff, where Prague was just like, man, an old school city. And the public transit in Vienna was absolutely amazing. Like I even went to a theme park while I was in Vienna. Went on the oldest Ferris wheel in the world. So yeah.
All right, boys. We have we've done it. Our biweekly show is wrapping. We are an hour and 41 minutes in. Thank you everybody for joining us here for another episode. Next time we will have Mark Sipe on, most likely, to talk about the culture collision. Was it good? Was it awful? Did it even take place? We'll find out on the next episode of Off Centered. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.